Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts, Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and myself will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we're reviewing It's a Wonderful Knife, available in theaters beginning November 10th, 2023. We're excited to do this. Before we get into it, let me introduce the crew, starting off with Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, and it is a wonderful knife, but I must have left it stuck somewhere. Can't think of it.
Well, that throws up 1,000 jokes.
I did.
Oh boy! I'm like, wait
A 400-mile drive today,
here?
so don't expect.
Oh, that sucks. F that. No, I don't handle that.
All right. Also joining us this week is Crystal Cleveland, Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
Well, I'm the best, so the rest. That was my favorite. I'm like, is this knife big enough? Can it cut? Can it work?
You making up for something?
Yeah, I was gonna say knife envy, knife envy.
Actually, so really, I'll tell you, my weapon of choice is always a cleaver, of course, because
Yeah,
I mean they cut through bone really well.
that's
That's the purpose of a cleaver.
half of the pronunciation of your last name.
Yeah, well, that too. That helps. Yep.
There's 1,000 more jokes. All right. Also joining us is award-winning award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr.
More. That was slow. That was slow.
It's like the angel got to your tongue. Happy holidays.
Oh, that's so cute. That's cute.
I'm surprised nobody's. I should have said that. I probably should save that for a horror film.
You should.
There you go.
actually write
Hey
that down right now.
guys, I'm just glad to be here talking about another Michael Kennedy film. So,
Yes.
or one
Yes.
he wrote.
Yep. All right. Well, we're excited to get into this. What we're going to do is first start off giving you our first impressions. Those first impressions will be spoiler-free. And then we'll get into a discussion, and the discussion will contain spoilers, and there are spoilers to be had.
Oh, well, this is an odd bird.
They're
as that goes,
straightforward.
yeah.
It might be a little straightforward, but they're there.
Yeah.
No,
all right.
there's a few spins here and there. So,
There is. And then we'll wrap things up with our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. And of course, we hope you like not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. And if you do, or when you do, please hit the like, subscribe, and share with a friend buttons. They're easy and free to do. And, of course, every click helps us find another horror fan just like you. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let's get into the card and get going. It's a wonderful knife. And I messed that up about 10 times out of 9. 2023, available in theaters on November 10th. 2023. It's from RLJE.
Yeah, me too. A lot.
Synopsis says, after saving her town from a psychotic killer, Winnie Carruthers' life is less than wonderful. When she wishes she'd never been born, she finds herself in a nightmare parallel universe where without her, things could be much, much worse. Directed by Tyler MacIntyre, written by Michael Kennedy. The cast includes Jane Widdop, Jess McLeod, Joel McHenry, Katharine, Isabelle, William B. Davis, Justin Long, Aiden Howard, and Erin. Boys.
wow, the most simplistic
Yeah.
of names ever we've ever had on this podcast.
And I messed at least 2 of them up. Yep.
Yeah.
Go figure. I was
You
on
tried.
a roll, but I
You
fell
did your
off.
best.
That feels like an insult. All right, let's get into this.
It was coming from Crystal's mouth.
Let's find out. Ow! All right, Jeff, sir, you're up first. What was your first impression of It's a Wonderful Knife?
Well, I watched this with my brother and sister-in-law, and they enjoyed it. I enjoyed it too. I felt like I had to. I don't know. It was pretty liberal with the can't think of the logic of it. But hey, it's really
Yeah.
kind of a horror fantasy. So just turn it off, go with it, have fun with it. It's cute. It's got some heart. It's got some slasher stuff. There's lots of gushy sound effects. And
Gushy.
oh, does Justin Long get a new set of teeth? And that's not an inside joke. It's
And
just
It was hair. I was about to say, I was like the
And
hair,
hair,
too.
yeah.
There.
Yeah,
And the
teeth,
voice.
yeah.
And the voice.
so I liked it. I thought it was a neat idea, and it didn't follow it exactly true, but it worked. I thought.
Very good. Yeah, Justin Long puts the character in the character actor, I think, in this one. Christopher G. Mohr, you're up next. What was your first impression of It's a Wonderful Knife?
Well, you know my love for Freaky, which I
Yes.
absolutely adore that film. And I got to meet Michael Kennedy a few years ago at Renegade Film Festival where he screened Freaky. And I remember him talking about he was working on a script that he was going to make next, but he couldn't say what it was. So now I'm excited to see what he turned out, and I think the same thing he did with like body switching movies and mixing them with the horror film and with the slasher, he's done a similar thing with this, and I kind of hope he just mash up
Yes, yeah.
slashers from this point on, because I think it always puts these horror films in a different perspective. A different storyline than we're not. I mean, it has those traditional things. I mean, I love the look of the killer and his weapon. To have a killer who's like fully in white is kind of cool. And I think when it kind of mixes, and it also, I mean, I will say in the very beginning, I was kind of like, I'm not sure about this but then I'm thinking, well, this is falling into like Hallmark Christmas movie territory, and it's going to have these type of characters, so I can't really be against that. And also it does a great job of, it's with the title, there's a spin on It's a Wonderful Life, but there's also a Christmas Story homage
Oh,
with
yeah.
an outfit. I mean, there's
Pink
a lot of
outfit, yep.
there's a lot of different, there's Back to the Future elements as well. But I think I think it's got an interesting story, and I think the way this could have been easily just like, this is a goofy type thing, but it does have some heart. It has a lot of interesting ideas about loss and how you matter, how you make an impression if you're in this world. And I think that, that's kind of a cool this film to have that kind of heart when it has a lot of the crazy stuff that happens in this, and just all you realize, if you didn't exist, how the world could just go to shit pretty quickly. But yeah, I found it to be very. I wouldn't say it's on the same level as Freaky for me, but I did love that. There's a few places where it's like, oh wow, that's going in a totally different direction than I didn't expect. But I love the idea of it, and I found it to be a very interesting story. I will say, Justin Long. He was the one that was like more of a character more than anybody else. And sometimes that kind of took me out of it, but I understand what they're going for. And it really goes into a really weird place by the end. But I'm along for the ride because it's, it's the same thing to say, well, It's a Wonderful Life has some weird elements too, when it comes to having to deal with stuff. But yeah, I'll have to agree with Jeff. There's the logics. You have to turn your brain off a little bit with the logic in places, but overall, I enjoyed it.
All right. 2 enjoys it. Crystal, you're up next. Your first impression. It's a Wonderful Knife.
Boy, do you have to turn your brain off to watch this film. That doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy it. Okay, don't get me wrong. But I love Freaky. I mean, Freaky's amazing, and I really, really dig the concept of this. I think this is brilliant as far as that goes. I completely agree with Christopher that the angel is. I love the look. I love that the mask is not just white; it's kind of molded, and then it looks like it's got like clear over white, so it gives it some dimension. It's really a beautiful mask. I really, really like the outfit. But let's be honest, there's a lot of inconsistencies in this film, like a lot. And having a killer that wears all white is a kind of a problem for that. Because, you know, he went and murked multiple people, and then his outfit was pristine. Now, when it did get bloody, it looked gorgeous. Like, I loved how yes, it was just beautiful. So I think they should have just bloodied that up more. But, you know, I get it. I love, like I said, I love the weapon. I had real issues, and my biggest issue with this film, though, is the heart of the film. And the reason I say that is because you have this very, very, very odd relationship with the parents that literally doesn't make any sense. They're just pieces of shit. You can't convince me that they're decent people at all, considering what they do. And then they're supposed to have some, it's just, they didn't develop that at all. And where they did try to develop it, they failed. They absolutely failed with that. That was a big, big issue. So the main thing about It's a Wonderful Life is about the relationships and the characters. And that was the part that was lacking in this. I love Justin Long. Dear God. He just gets weirder and weirder. I mean, and I am here for that. Thank you. I will take more of that. I love that we saw Cassandra from Influencer, the actress from Influencer, in this.
Oh yeah, she's the
and
girlfriend
then of course,
of the
of Ginger Snaps.
Yes.
Yeah, Ginger Snaps. We got that too.
Hannibal.
I mean, the cast is awesome. I think the acting was great. I like I said, I feel like had this been fleshed out a little bit more, I could have come up with ways to make that work out a little bit better with the family. There's a lot of reasons that she could have chosen to not want to be alive and to be around, but her parents giving the brother the truck and giving her pink, it just, who thought that was a good idea? Sorry. That actually really super duper bothered me. Anywho, yeah, I did enjoy it though. I had a lot of fun.
All that aside, well, you know, as I go through life, my brain was already turned off by the time I got here. I didn't have any problem with the consistencies or inconsistencies of the sci-fi elements of this at all. Being the whole alternate universe, nobody knows who you are, everything changed. I thought the concept of that was really interesting and quite fun.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, you know, based off a Wonderful Life, and then the and her new, you know, her friends change in this new world, and there's a relationship that grows out of that I really like. It's very inclusive as well. I had a lot of fun with this. I still, it doesn't compare to Freaky. Freaky is superior. I'm not really sure I've got a clear reason why, but I think you guys are helping me with that tonight. But at the same time, it's, I would watch these, you know, Freaky and this movie back to back. It's fun. It's
sure, yeah,
it's a good time. The Christmas spirit's in there, but it's not so much that I'm going to be turned off by it, because I can be turned off by that unless it's a killer.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Christmas movies, but I loved how they handle it in this.
Bah humbug.
Oh man, you aren't kidding. So I mean, and I like the lead. And as a matter of fact, I don't think I disliked anybody really, and of course Justin Long steals every scene he's in. Especially at the end when, maybe we should get into spoilers. So let's get into spoilers. I liked it. I enjoyed it. If you're listening now, we're in spoilers. But I gotta ask, at the end of this movie, did it get slightly supernatural?
Yeah, because he had control over, because all their eyes were glowing.
He had mind control, right? He had some kind of supernatural.
Well, they said they
effect.
made some comment that by what they did, they made it worse. because they needed to complete it.
Right,
You know,
it's just
she,
like
she took out the one angel, and you know.
I'm just confused though why Doc is acting like by the end it was supernatural when the whole thing's supernatural.
Right.
well, I mean, but
I mean, she's in a
the killer,
different dimension.
I'm with you, I'm with you.
No,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no,
I'm just-
not the
I'm
storyline,
like-
but the killer,
I'm like,
because
well, yeah, but
because-
you know.
Well,
Because
just how he
that's-
had control over people to get them to do his bidding and stuff, and by the end, you almost had like
They're all
like
just
as they
standing
mentioned
there
the
like
drones,
they're in a trance.
the drones comment where they actually became drones and they were mentally controlled by him. You know.
and then the more he got beat up, the more they got freed of that, and then they did like a little maniac thing at the end where they all went down and
Yes,
got
Yeah.
I really
I
enjoyed
mean-
that.
I mean, you have the whole. I mean, they did explain the whole thing with the aurora, whatever,
Borealis.
borealis stuff in the sky, and how there's some kind of magical thing involved with that. So, I think that's when you kind of, throw part of your brain out the window and say, okay,
Yeah.
because
I mean-
we're already in a weird world.
It's
where
not.
she
It's not
doesn't-
reality, right? It's not representing.
Yeah,
reality.
she's already in a world she doesn't exist now. And then you have this character who somehow has gained power, supernatural power from what she did or whatever, and her magic wish. So it did kind of get kind of odd by the end, but at the same time I kind of like that out of left field stuff. I think
I didn't have a problem with that at all. Yeah.
well, even the part where they find out that the killer who's killing him isn't, the
The
Justin
person you
Long
think it is?
character. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
pass-
I
pass
was
the
like,
mantle. Ah.
yeah,
I
and
think
I was
we
like,
should keep that a secret. I think we should keep that a
Yes.
secret.
We don't
and,
have to
and,
spoil
and
it.
I think for that I was like, okay, that now we're sort of batting for the fences here, because it's like I feel like
It's fun.
that wasn't I didn't expect that, and I think having that kind of dark family aspect of it is something that Back to the Future didn't do to that level. I think that kind of adds that extra little element that you don't, because that now this whole world is totally screwed up. And granted,
Well,
her family
let's really
isn't.
be honest.
Well, her family, like you said, her family is not the best people in the world, which I can understand why. He's like, why did I even exist? Because my family doesn't like me. But at the same time, she made her family a whole lot worse than what they were. So sometimes you have to accept how crappy your family is.
I honestly, if you wanted to do, this is a fun movie. Okay, y'all. This is what I'm going to say about this film. This is not a stellar, fabulous film, but it is fun and entertaining. I love Christmas movies. Like Halloween is my favorite holiday, but I'm not one of those weirdos. Sorry. I'm not one of those weirdos. It's like, oh, I'm so goth and so hardcore that I can't like Christmas. No, I love Christmas. Okay, Christmas is badass. And this movie is a cute and fun Christmas movie.
Yep.
It's not fantastic. But if you want a real horror movie that has the same concept, you have someone go to this dimension and the world is a much better place without them.
Well, and I think when we talked about we talk about the differences between, I hate having to compare this to Freaky, but I think
Yeah.
with Freaky we had, well, I think like you said, Crystal, we had more fleshed out characters. We had more, and these characters I didn't see much chemistry between a lot of them. Even her family, they just felt like characters. And even in Friends and stuff, they just felt like characters as opposed to Freaky. I felt like these people actually had
cared about
connections
them.
and stuff, and you cared about them. And I think that disconnection is kind of what kind of threw me to where it made me think, oh, well, maybe I'm watching these Hallmark movies that aren't known for fleshed out characterizations.
One of my favorite characters actually was the brother. Like he loved his sister and was so sweet. And
There was
then
good chemistry between them.
Yeah, there was good
yeah,
chemistry
and then they
between them.
took him away from us, and I'm like, oh, well, like he knew it was effed up what his family did. Like, I just don't understand that choice. I just
Did we like the relationship between her and
Brie.
Bernie?
Is that what you're talking about?
Bernie? Yeah, I was going to call her
Bernie, that's it. I
Weirdo, but she didn't
loved
want to be
that.
called Weirdo.
I loved when they.
Bernie.
I mean, I loved it. I thought it was so cute when they kissed. I was.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we are split. I was actually glad she remembered too. Actually, I think she's a precious character. I love them together.
Well, I think that was the one character that felt a little bit more
Real.
interesting than any of the other characters, mainly. And then there's that whole thing about, you matter, know, and because she's treated so horribly by everybody in both universes. It's kind of cool to sort of see that representation of that type of character, because I know growing up myself, I wasn't Mr. Popular in school and stuff. So it's kind of cool to see that kind of character and showing a character that you care about.
So I will say too, another thing that I did like is I did like Robbie and Darla. Like I was like, okay, they're horrible, but really they belong together.
Yeah.
I feel like that was almost like fate, actually. I think they were meant to be together. Period. Sorry, they were a way better couple.
So
than
they were
she ever
dating a
was with them.
year before
They told her,
before
yeah.
that Christmas
That's
thing.
awkward.
So I was like, oh, this is horrible. Why are you even?
They probably didn't want to hurt her because she had just murdered someone.
Yeah,
Or
but
not
they were
murdered.
dating
She
a
didn't murder, she
year
killed. That's
year
different.
before. They said they've been dating 3 years.
No, well, that was in the second.
That was in
the
the
alternate
second
life.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, but
so
I'm
they-
She
assuming
didn't
that
exist.
No, they weren't. Oh, yeah,
Okay,
she
that's
didn't
true,
exist
that's
in that
true.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's true.
I did like
Yeah.
when she was walked down the street and that awkward encounter, but she's like, no, you guys are great. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And I think that's
like her
true. I
realization
mean,
of
they
that.
clearly belong together. And, let's be real. Like, I mean, she just wasn't a good fit for him. It was for the best. That was for the best, for sure.
We didn't
Yeah.
see much of their relationship at all. But I like what you were talking about too. I liked the Bernie character and her initial contact with her, and her irritation with the other people. And I'm with you too on the family. That whole Christmas present thing was I just can't even
Weird.
imagine anybody doing that. That's just
Yeah.
insane.
And knowing
You
that
get a
her
workout
daughter-
suit and he gets a truck. I mean, what the hell?
Just felt well. Even pointed out, the aunt pointed out, it's like very sexist, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
why
Well,
is-
I also wanted to point out Tyler MacIntyre also directed Tragedy Girls, which I feel like there was a little connection here in the time travel kind of thing. And he also directed that Into the Dark episode with Judy Greer, Good Dog.
Oh, I love Good Dog. I love Good Dog. I love that one.
So between the writer and the
That's one of
director,
my
I think
favorites.
I think it's a it's one it feels good, but the stuff that was kind of off didn't bother me too much. And I did
Yeah.
watch it a second time because my brother and then they were talking, and so I just needed to
Yeah.
focus a little more. And most of the problems I had with the plot that seemed unexplained actually were explained, very thinly explained, but just a comment by somebody like going, "Oh, geez, we made it worse," after their first try to go
Oh,
back.
geez, we made it worse.
Anyway, there was a great. I loved the whole Clarence thing too. I thought that was kind of cool. I mean,
That
they
was
they
cute.
didn't make a big thing out of it. They just kind of threw it in there, and then they revisited it at one point.
I just found it funny how her mom is this big drunkard with this strange guy.
Yeah.
More than one from
Yeah, I was
other-
like, oh
Pieces,
god.
side
bunch of
pieces.
side pieces, yeah. I like the when she goes back in the room and whoops, shit went down.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Whoops. Yes, all right.
All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up with our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. Jeff Mohr, sir, you are up first.
I'm going to give this a 3.5.
Oh,
And favorite scene, this will sound maybe a little strange, but when she goes back after she wishes that she never existed, and she runs into Buck the sheriff, who's Justin Long's brother, and there's been a murder. And this is all going on in the background. I was just listening to the stuff he was saying, and I was
I know.
dying.
About the crime tape.
Put a little more caution tape up there
Yeah, the
because
dogs.
we need to be cautious. And bring in the canine unit. It's probably not going to do any good, but it'll look good. It'll make people
Yeah,
do
for the
it.
vibes or something.
For the vibes, yeah.
The vibes. That was right. So anyway, there was several things like that. Hey, there's a place where she says we gotta come on, let's go kill my not dad, you know, or something like that. Anyway, so I'm done. I hope I didn't take somebody else's scene.
No, but that was a good one.
It is. Christopher, you're up next. Score, favorite scene?
I'll probably give it the same, a 3.5. I mean, it has some issues, but overall, I think it's a very interesting concept that we hadn't really seen before, and I love the mashup type things. As for favorite scene, I just loved the shot of it, but the framing of the kill outside the window.
Oh yeah,
With
when
the guy
party's
that
going on.
gets killed in the backyard, I thought was really cool. You know, especially with the sort of like the money shot of the blood splattering. But I love it. It's almost like watching a TV or something.
Was that the girl at the beginning?
No,
Was that different?
it's the guy in the backyard that's the druggies.
Oh yes! Oh
when
my
she
God!
already,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, that gets hacked to death. Oh my God.
I love that scene and just how the ending of it is framed just perfectly within that window.
Like how everybody turns into crackheads.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Everybody's just.
I was like, for some reason, when she said, "What's in the?" I was like, "That can't. They're not crackheads, right? They got to be smoking weed, right?" And then you see the pipe. I'm like, Jesus, what the?
yeah, that whole.
I thought they said crank, but maybe it was crack. They could have been saying crack.
What's
I
the
think they
difference?
missed
Is
it.
there a difference between crank and crack?
Yeah, crank's more of an amphetamine. Straight
What's
amphetamine
crack?
meth thing. Crack is
Cocaine.
cocaine.
It feels the whole switch feels very
Jesus.
Back to the Future 2, just how everything sort of goes to crap.
Yep. Crystal, you're up next. Your score and favorite scene.
I'm also going to give it a 3.5. And my favorite scene is the shocking when she shocks him. When she shocks
Oh
him.
yeah!
I loved it. I loved it. I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. This is where she's just getting stuff done right away. I did like that they did that right at the beginning. Like 3.5, totally acceptable, totally fun movie to watch. There's a couple things where I'm just like, but most of it is very positive. So
Very good. Very good. I will go ahead and round this out with a 3.5 as well.
Well, what
We'll
in
just-
the
we'll
world?
just
is
all
up
be
with
the
that?
I
same.
know that's weird.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was quite fun. My favorite scene, I've got a couple of them in mind. So I'll just do both. Why not? The first one, I thought Christopher was going to take it. That's the kill when they're all inside and when she comes up to the window.
That's
and,
another good one.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like
Oh,
like Ghostbusters when the guy's up there and the dog's chasing him. Except for just a lot of blood involved. But the other one is when I mentioned it earlier, is when she decided that she needed to go back in there and tell her mom that, no, you need to get rid of those side pieces. This isn't how you do it. But when she gets in there, they're all slaughtered and everything, and we get a reveal of the killer. And he comes to the door, and all he does is just shut the door. And go back. I don't know. I like that whole reveal.
so
and
on
then
that
off.
note, I've got to say, I really love Justin Long's reaction to when he finds out that when she tells him that she killed him. Justin Long's like face and the way he I
Right.
think he did really great there. Sorry, just a little
No, that's
little
good.
moment. I was like, God,
Well, I thought he did
Boy.
good, but I mean, they did
Yeah.
have some prosthetic teeth in, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
prosthetic teeth, and then I mean
row of
the
them.
hair, and honestly, it looks
The
like
voice.
they aged him. They aged him, I think, some because he looked older. I thought he looked great. Actually, it took me a while to recognize him. To be honest,
man.
I was like, that's him, right? Yeah.
Although I will say that the movie does have those moments where I got mad at characters because it's like, just pick up the knife, or when they're walking over the body part was like kind of stupid. But yeah, but that comes with most slashers. Comes with the territory.
Well, see, that was one of the ones too that ticked me off the first time I watched it because I'm like, oh come on,
First
she went
time
right
I watched
at him the first time around, and this time she's kind of screwing
And then
around.
Yeah,
she's
she's
Why
not
don't we
doing
keep
anything.
going
yeah.
around. Why aren't we running right down the stairs and finishing him off? But then she went to finish him off. So, yeah, I don't know. It was a little odd, but I
Yeah.
love it.
I just hate when they leave the weapon with the body. It's like, yeah, let me just give the killer another
Yes.
round at me. I hate that, but again, horror movies wouldn't exist if we didn't.
Have a little stupidity.
Yeah, they're the character that has to exist for in the horror universe for these movies to work.
I liked Bernie's reaction when she starts to her reaction to Winnie, and she starts to like get really nervous right before the comes through the window. It's just, I don't know. I
I loved her whole character. Yeah, me too. For some reason I wasn't ready for the kiss. Like I missed that completely. But I immediately was like, oh, that's great. Like, of course. How did I miss that?
Well,
I didn't think that they didn't
that
have
was kind of
chemistry.
rushed, but yeah.
You did? I did. Yeah, I didn't think that. Maybe that's what I didn't think that they didn't have chemistry. I just didn't see the chemistry as
that deep.
romantic.
Yeah.
I
mean,
just saw it as
but
friends, but yeah.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, okay, so as a female who is attracted to other females, that's always a weird area, because you never know.
All right.
But
Well, there you go. That's our review.
That's what I always say. You never know.
It's a review of It's a Wonderful Knife. I was almost getting ready to screw it up. It's out in theaters.
No,
it's from
you never screw anything up.
RLJE. Never.
Happy mistakes.
And Shudder. So it'll definitely be on Shudder, I would imagine, by the end of the year. December is a good time for this movie to come out. So look for it then. And we'd love to hear what you think of it down below. And we did a fairly decent job of not giving away every surprise. Although if you listen closely.
No, we did. Yeah, I know. Because we did, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't said, but anyway, let's check them out. Check it out. Let us know in your comments down below. Jeff, Christopher, Crystal, thank you for joining me. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having us.
It was. Thanks.
It's a wonderful podcast.
Yay! All right.
Wow. God, we're being so yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah.
Every time we hear a bell.
Nah.
And it says an angel goes to hell. That's
Or
what
Doc mispronounces the name.
Oh no! Every time Doc mispronounces the names, an angel goes to hell. All right, let's get out of here. Let's say goodnight.
Good night. That's funny.
Good night, everybody.
Gruesome Magazine.